Most people can't go a single mile without GPS or gas, but the Amish have been moving across towns, farms, and counties for generations without using a single machine. Their way isn't about speed, it's about skill, community, and pure human rhythm that never breaks down. The clip-clop of horse hooves on asphalt might sound charming to tourists, but for Amish families, it's just Monday morning traffic. These buggies aren't antiques wheeled out for special occasions. They're the primary vehicle for everything from grocery runs to visiting the doctor 15 miles away. A typical Amish family puts around 3,000 miles annually on their buggy, roughly the same distance most people drive just commuting to work for 3 months. The construction reveals serious engineering hidden beneath that simple black exterior. The wheels are designed with a slight inward angle, creating better stability on turns without any modern suspension system. The axles use hardwood treated with natural oils that can handle years of daily use without breaking down. Some buggies have been passed down through 3 generations, outlasting most modern cars by decades. A horse never complains about gas prices, though it does have opinions about the quality of oats. Weather adaptations show just how practical these designs really are. Summer buggies feature roll-up canvas sides for ventilation, while winter versions get enclosed with thick wool-lined panels. The seats are carefully carved and positioned to distribute weight evenly, preventing back problems during long trips. Springs made from flexible hardwood absorb road bumps surprisingly well. Speed varies depending on the horse and load, but most buggies cruise comfortably at 8 to 10 miles per hour. For longer distances, families plan their routes around rest stops where horses can drink and cool down. The whole system operates on careful timing and planning that's become second nature. What really stands out is how these buggies handle modern road conditions without any electrical components. Distance means something different when you're measuring it in footsteps instead of fuel gauges. Most Amish walk 2 to 4 miles daily just handling regular activities, which adds up to around 800 miles per year. That's like walking from Philadelphia to Cleveland without ever leaving your neighborhood. The paths connecting Amish properties aren't random. They're strategically positioned through generations of use. Families know exactly which routes stay driest during rain, which ones catch the best shade in summer, and which shortcuts save 10 minutes when running late to a community gathering. These aren't paved roads either, just well-worn dirt paths maintained by constant foot traffic. Walking to your neighbor's house burns calories. Driving burns cash. The Amish prefer the first kind of burning. Children learn these routes young, often making their first solo walks to school around age 6 or 7. The whole community watches out for young walkers, creating an informal safety network that functions better than any crossing guard system. Weather barely slows this down. Rain means pulling on boots and grabbing an umbrella. Snow just requires heavier coats and paying attention to where you step. The Amish have developed a particular walking pace that covers ground efficiently without exhausting the walker, somewhere between a casual stroll and a determined march. Morning walks often serve double duty as social time and exercise. Families coordinate their schedules to walk together when possible, turning a simple trip to the market into quality time. Problems get solved, decisions get made, and plans get formed during these regular walks. Some people pay gym memberships to walk on treadmills going nowhere. The Amish just walk places and call it Tuesday. But when winter really sets in and snow blankets everything, walking isn't always practical. That's when another traditional method takes over. Snow doesn't stop Amish transportation. It just changes the wheels to runners. When 6 inches or more covers the ground, buggies get parked and sleighs come out of storage. These aren't decorative holiday props. They're serious transportation that can haul a family of 8+ supplies across frozen landscapes that would trap most modern vehicles. The runners are crafted from curved hardwood treated with layers of animal fat that creates a nearly frictionless surface on snow. This treatment gets reapplied every season using rendered beef tallow mixed with beeswax. A well-maintained sleigh can travel faster on packed snow than a buggy moves on dry roads, hitting speeds around 12 to 15 miles per hour on level ground. Most people complain about shoveling snow. The Amish just wait for enough to pile up and call it a highway. Weight distribution makes the difference between smooth travel and getting stuck. Heavier items go toward the front, while passengers sit in the middle and back. This positioning keeps the runners from digging too deep into soft snow while maintaining control on turns. Horses actually prefer pulling sleighs over buggies in winter. The smooth gliding motion requires less effort than rolling wheels through slush and ice. A horse that might struggle pulling a loaded buggy through winter roads can easily manage the same weight on a sleigh. Different snow conditions require different approaches. Fresh powder means taking it slow and breaking trail for others to follow. Packed snow allows faster speeds but demands attention to hidden ice patches. Winter gives the Amish sleighs. It gives everyone else car payments for snow tires they'll use twice. Temperature plays a bigger role than most realize. The ideal range sits between 20 and 30 degrees, cold enough to keep snow firm, but not so cold that it becomes abrasive like sandpaper. But frozen precipitation isn't the only water feature the Amish navigate. Rivers don't come with convenient bridges in most Amish country. Communities settled near waterways learned early that owning a sturdy boat wasn't optional. It was survival. These aren't recreational vessels for weekend fishing trips. They're working boats that ferry people, supplies, and even livestock across water that would otherwise require a 20-mile detour to the nearest bridge. The boats themselves reflect generations of refinement. Most measure 12 to 16 feet long, built from cedar or pine planks, sealed with pine tar and rendered animal fat. The flat-bottom design allows the boats to navigate shallow water and load easily from muddy banks. A typical rowboat can carry 6 adults or about 800 pounds of cargo without sitting dangerously low in the water. Bridges charge tolls. Rivers just ask for rowing. The Amish prefer the workout. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicole Apelian on their store. If you're watching this on TV, you can look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet and find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any other video description. Canoes serve different purposes than rowboats. They're lighter, faster, and perfect for solo travelers or small supply runs. Many Amish canoes follow traditional designs learned from local indigenous peoples generations ago. These narrow vessels can slip through water channels too tight for rowboats, and one person can portage them around obstacles when necessary. Current reading becomes a crucial skill for anyone crossing regularly. Experienced boaters can judge water speed by watching how debris floats past, and they know which eddies and slack water areas make the easiest crossing points. Each river has its personality. Some run fast and shallow, others move slow and deep. Livestock crossings present unique challenges. Cows don't naturally understand boats, and convincing a 1,000-pound animal to stand still in a rocking vessel takes patience and skill. Horses are easier. They've been around water transport enough to trust the process. Teaching a cow to be a good boat passenger takes longer than teaching teenagers to drive. At least the cow doesn't ask for the keys. Weather awareness separates safe crossings from dangerous ones. Wind creates waves that can swamp a loaded boat, and rain reduces visibility to nearly nothing on wider rivers. Thunder means getting off the water immediately. Some rivers freeze solid enough for another kind of crossing entirely. Frozen lakes transform into temporary highways every January in Amish country. These aren't officially marked routes with safety inspections. They're paths tested by experienced community members who understand ice like farmers understand soil. The general rule holds that 4 inches of clear ice supports a person on foot, while 8 to 12 inches can handle a horse and sleigh. Ice quality matters more than thickness. Clear blue ice forms from steady cold temperatures and creates the strongest surface. White or cloudy ice contains air bubbles that weaken its structure, sometimes by half. Snow ice, which forms when slush refreezes on top, barely counts at all for weight calculations. Mother Nature builds roads for free every winter. She just forgets to include the maintenance schedule. Testing happens through careful observation rather than drills or meters. The sound ice makes underfoot tells the story. Solid ice produces a dull thud, while questionable ice gives off a hollow echo or worse, a cracking sound that sends everyone scrambling back to shore. Temperature swings create the biggest danger. A week of steady 20-degree weather builds reliable ice, but a single afternoon above freezing, followed by overnight refreezing, creates treacherous layers. Spring ice particularly deserves respect. It may look solid, but can deteriorate rapidly as warmer water flows underneath. Ice fishing enthusiasts call it recreation. The Amish call it their commute. Regular crossing routes develop naturally as communities use the same paths repeatedly. The weight of passing sleighs actually strengthens ice in these lanes by compressing it, similar to how repeated use packs down a dirt road. Each community has designated ice watchers during winter months, usually older members with decades of experience reading frozen water. But crossing frozen water represents just one way the Amish move goods without engines. Garden harvests don't fit in buggies, and hauling 200 pounds of potatoes in your arms makes for a short, painful trip. That's where working carts come in. Smaller than full wagons, but more capable than anything human-powered alone. Most Amish farms own 3 to 5 different cart designs for specific jobs. Two-wheeled garden carts feature large wooden wheels that roll easily over soft soil and rough ground. The single axle design allows them to pivot in tight spaces between crop rows, and the angled bed makes dumping loads simple. A strong adult can pull about 150 pounds this way. Gyms charge money to pull weighted sleds. Amish gardens provide the same workout with free vegetables at the end. Four-wheeled flatbed carts serve different purposes entirely. They sacrifice maneuverability for stability and capacity, carrying up to 400 pounds when horse-drawn. The flat surface accommodates irregular loads like fence posts, lumber, or awkward tools that would tumble off a tilted garden cart. Wheel maintenance determines cart longevity more than any other factor. Wooden wheels require regular tightening as the wood naturally expands and contracts with humidity changes. The metal bands that reinforce wheel edges need hammering back into place periodically. Modern vehicles need oil changes. Amish carts need a good hammer and someone willing to swing it. Cart construction follows standardized dimensions within each community, which creates unexpected benefits. Replacement parts fit multiple carts, and borrowing a neighbor's cart during busy seasons works seamlessly because the harness connections match. Sometimes, though, even multiple carts aren't enough when an entire community needs to move. Church Sundays mean 40 buggies heading to the same farm, except there aren't 40 buggies on the road. There's maybe 15. Families coordinate their trips like a rural carpool system that runs without apps, texts, or phone calls. The arrangement happens through word passed at the previous week's gathering or through children who relay messages between households. A typical shared buggy carries 8 to 10 people when families combine trips. 3 families traveling together means 3 horses stay rested at home and 3 fewer vehicles creating wear on the roads. Route planning happens naturally through years of living in the same area. Everyone knows who lives closest to the main road, whose farm sits furthest out, and which direction makes the most sense for pickups. Carpooling was invented by people trying to save gas money. The Amish perfected it while saving hay money. Scheduling flexibility makes this system work better than most modern carpools. Amish families don't punch time clocks or attend meetings that start exactly at 9 o'clock. If someone needs an extra 10 minutes to finish morning chores, the buggy waits. Children benefit most from shared travel. Cousins and friends get time together during rides, strengthening community bonds that last for life. A single buggy trip accomplishes social functions that modern families might need separate playdates, phone calls, and meetings to achieve. Modern traffic jams make people angry. Amish shared rides make people friends. After the sun sets, travel continues with a different kind of preparation. Darkness doesn't stop necessary travel, it just changes the equipment. Oil lanterns mounted on buggy sides provide the only illumination for Amish families traveling after sunset. Properly maintained lanterns cast a surprisingly bright glow that lights up the road for 20 to 30 feet ahead. The lanterns follow designs refined over more than a century. Thick glass chimneys protect the flame from wind while allowing maximum light output. Reflective metal backing behind the flame doubles the forward illumination. The fuel reservoir holds enough oil for 3 to 4 hours of continuous burning. Headlights need batteries, lanterns need oil, and a match. One dies when the power goes out. Placement matters more than brightness. 2 lanterns mounted at buggy front corners provide better visibility than one bright central light because the dual sources reduce shadows and give depth perception. Fuel preparation happens well before any night trip. The oil gets filtered through fine cloth to remove any particles that might clog the wick or create smoke. Wicks require trimming to an even edge that burns cleanly without producing soot. Route selection changes after dark. Familiar roads with few turns get preference over shortcuts that might seem faster in daylight. Hills become more challenging because horses can't see obstacles as well. Modern drivers complain about high beam glare. Amish drivers just hope their lanterns stay lit. Horse behavior shifts noticeably during night travel. The animals rely more on their hearing and move more cautiously. Experienced night travelers trust their horses to detect hazards, allowing the animals to slow down or sidestep when they sense something wrong. Long journeys sometimes require more than just nighttime preparedness, though. 20 miles separates some Amish communities from their closest relatives, and expecting one horse to pull a loaded buggy that entire distance both ways would be asking for trouble. Long-distance travel demands strategic planning that centers entirely on horse welfare. The solution requires owning multiple horses and knowing exactly when to switch them out. Most Amish families keep 2 to 4 horses specifically for buggy work. Each animal has different strengths and stamina levels. A typical long journey starts with the strongest horse pulling the first leg, usually 8 to 10 miles depending on terrain and load weight. Rest stops get planned around natural watering points and shade availability. Every experienced traveler knows which farms along major routes welcome stopping travelers. Modern cars need gas stations every few hundred miles. Amish horses need a drink and some grass every 8 miles. At least the horses never complain about gas prices. Horse swapping requires specific knowledge and preparation. The fresh horse needs proper harnessing, which takes 5 to 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the tired horse gets unhitched, watered, and allowed to cool down gradually. Working horses should never drink immediately after heavy exertion. Terrain reading becomes second nature for experienced travelers. Hills demand more from horses than flat roads, and smart drivers often rotate horses before starting a steep climb. Muddy conditions or soft sand tire horses faster, sometimes requiring rotation after just 5 or 6 miles. Horses don't complain about traffic jams, but they do have opinions about poorly timed hills. Weather affects rotation schedules dramatically. Summer heat exhausts horses much faster, sometimes cutting normal rotation distances in half. Families traveling during hot months often start before dawn. The entire rotation system depends on reading situations that have nothing to do with horses, though. Getting lost isn't an option when road signs don't exist. Amish navigation relies entirely on memory, observation, and an accumulated knowledge of landmarks. This skill set begins developing in early childhood and grows more sophisticated throughout a lifetime of buggy travel. Barns serve as primary navigation markers across Amish country. Each barn possesses unique characteristics: the color of its roof, the number of windows, or the way its doors face. Experienced travelers can identify specific barns from a mile away and use them to judge both location and remaining distance. Modern drivers follow blue signs to the highway. Amish drivers follow the barn with the crooked weather vane to the next turn. Tree formations provide navigation aids that remain consistent year-round. A distinctive trio of oak trees standing together, a lone willow beside a creek, or an unusually shaped pine all become reference points. Experienced navigators recognize trees by their branch patterns and overall shapes even after leaves fall. Fence lines create visual guides that help with both direction and distance estimation. Most Amish farms maintain their fences carefully, and each family has characteristic building styles. Split-rail fences indicate older established farms, while newer wire fencing marks recent property expansions. Creek crossings serve as major landmarks precisely because water features stay permanent. The sound of running water often reaches travelers before the creek becomes visible, providing audio confirmation of approaching landmarks. Smartphones die when batteries run out. Landmark navigation dies only when memory runs out, which typically takes about 80 years longer. Field patterns create recognizable landscapes that help travelers orient themselves quickly. The way one farmer plants in diagonal rows while his neighbor uses traditional straight lines all contribute to the visual signature of specific areas. Road characteristics themselves serve as navigation aids. One route features packed gravel that makes a specific sound under buggy wheels, while another uses sandy soil that muffles noise completely. While the world races forward powered by fuel and technology, the Amish remind us that simplicity still works, and often works better. Their way of travel isn't about speed, it's about purpose, connection, and endurance. In moving slower, they've mastered something we often forget: going farther without losing direction.